Hello everybody. So as the 2023 NHL season is upon us and we have started play and we're about 2 weeks in now, I thought it'd only be fitting to do another NHL tier list. And these are my opinions rolling into the season. It's already funny to see that this list that I made this list way back in the beginning of October when the NHL preseason was still rolling. And so it's funny to see how far it's come now where it's like, oh my gosh, there are already some teams that I've said that's way wrong. They're either way better or way worse. Let's just jump into the list. It's like S tier, A tier, B. And it would be easy to look at, like, our S tier is obviously teams that could win the cup, or at least, appear in the Stanley Cup final. A tier could be teams that can get to the, Eastern or Western Conference final if they go on a good run. Let's start with the bottom. This team is probably $100,000 stadium away from being a minors team. These are teams like the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, Canucks, the Coyotes, the Canadiens, the Sabres, the Flames, the Flyers, and the Senators. And that's not to say that I hate these teams necessarily, because no, there's no ill will. But when you look at the offseason and, okay, who made big trades, who went into the draft, who has solid veteran presence, I can't confidently say any of these teams look good on paper. These are teams that are not bad, not good. We got the St. Louis Blues. I mean, they decided to kind of ship it in there with about 3-4 weeks to go left in the season. They could have made a push for that 8th spot in the West, but they didn't. So, I mean, they're not good, they're not bad. We'll just see how the season plays out. The Jets and the Red Wings. I mean, the Jets had an early playoff exit, even though, if I'm not mistaken, they tied the series at 2 apiece, but then they eventually got eliminated. We have the Sharks, Predators, and then finally the Blackhawks. And the reason why I say the Blackhawks is because, they went and got Connor Bedard, and I think instantly he will make that team better. But here's the thing. They moved mountains to go get him. He's got to prove it. They're not going to magically turn around and turn into the Blackhawks of old where they're winning cups. No, but I could see them being a pesky team that's not bottom of the West. Early exit teams. These are the teams that I feel that could be solid, like that 7th or 8th seed throughout the whole season. But if they can't get it going in the playoffs and hit their stride, early exits. These include like the Capitals. I mean, Ovi's getting up there with age. The Bruins, I think without Patrice Bergeron, I think that Bruins squad is not the same without him. So they'll have a solid season, but don't be surprised when they're eliminated in the first round by the Devils or the Rangers. Okay, I got the LA Kings, I got the Dallas Stars, I got the New York Islanders, I got the Florida Panthers, the Maple Leafs. I mean, we all know this one. The writing's on the wall. Seattle Kraken and the Minnesota Wild. I think the Kraken and the Wild are those two teams where it's like we're waiting for them to make some noise. All right, these are solid teams where they're going to have a solid season, or if they don't have a solid season, rolling into the playoffs after All-Star break. These are going to be the hottest teams, I personally feel, rolling into the playoffs where you don't want to run into these guys. Edmonton Oilers, points leader in Connor McDavid. I don't see why he can't have another marvelous season like he did last year. New Jersey Devils, they were one of the hottest teams in the East last year. But then we got Carolina Hurricanes and then the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the delusional Penguins fan in me, where I think, hey, we got some additional key pieces, bringing them in the offseason. We make that defense just a little bit better. We already got the guys in Sid, Gino, Tanger, and so we just need to work on that defense and goalkeeping. And these Penguins could return to their old form, but again, that's the fun delusional side of me talking. When reality, probably early exit. Like, we can't run into a stupid team like we have the last few seasons where we're either eliminated by the Islanders, the Rangers, or not even going to the playoffs at all. And then these are my cup favorites. Let's start first with the New York Rangers. The only reason why I said this one is because they look good on paper. I know Patrick Kane isn't on the roster right now, but I guarantee you, come halfway through the season, Patrick Kane's going to end up on some team, whether it's the Florida Panthers, the Jersey Devils, or the Rangers again. On paper, even with or without Kane, Rangers look good. They got a good goalkeeper, nothing to worry about there. I put the Tampa Bay Lightning also because we're not too far removed from them winning the cup back-to-back years. They are still a solid team. Yep, they're getting up there in age, but they just ran into a buzzsaw, which was the Avalanche. I'd be worried if they were a healthy squad. I put the Avalanche. I mean, they won it in 2022. They didn't win it this year in 2023. They still got a main core. Only blunder, blimp, whatever you want to call it. Gabriel Landeskog is still injured, and so the missing veteran presence of him because of them announcing it in the offseason like, hey, He's still in rehab. He might miss all of this next season. Who steps in? Who steps in to help be that veteran presence? If it can't be McKinnon or Makar, who's that third guy? Who steps in? And then number one, obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights. Are you kidding? They just came off of winning the Stanley Cup. Obviously, they're Stanley Cup favorites this year, in my personal opinion. And so there'd be no reason, if we're tiering the list, to be like, oh, they're a middle of the pack team. No, they're the best team on paper. They have a pretty decent, easy schedule. And so they just got to stay healthy, and they'll be perfectly fine to repeat as champs. So that's my opinion on that. I know, crazy, outlandish. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.